Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Phantasm Ravager. So first things first, I'm going to give you my overall thoughts, and to be completely honest with you all, I had a pretty darn good time with this movie. I thought it was extremely epic. It was action packed. I thought the story was interesting. There was a lot of dimension hopping like from the previous movie. Overall, I thought it was a super solid movie, and I think it was a fitting conclusion to the franchise. I think this movie is pretty darn divisive amongst fans of the franchise. Honestly, I feel like a lot of people don't like this movie. Um, And I knew that going in. I was like, is it going to ruin the franchise? Are they going to do anything crazy? Blah, blah, blah. And I thought it was a super solid film. Like, I don't know why so many people hate this. Because this, like I said, this is like a hated movie. Like I said, it's divisive. Some people do like it. But I think, like, generally it's more hated than it is liked. But anyways, getting into the actual review here, so the opening scene like sets the tone right off the bat. So you got our boy Reggie, and he's just wandering around the desert. He comes across this gentleman in his vehicle. He jacks his vehicle back, gets it back, jacks the guy's clothes. That guy is like killed by the spheres, and it's super bloody. This movie is incredibly bloody. Like, it's action packed, it's bloody. Like, I feel like it's a lot bloodier than a lot of the other movies. It is like a lot of the gore and a lot of the action stuff is CGI, which I'm gonna get into later, which didn't really mind, which I didn't really mind, but I feel like a lot of people hated that about this movie, and I feel like that's one of people's main gripes is the CGI and the production value. But I don't know, it didn't really bother me that much, because I was so like engaged with the movie. But anyways, that gentleman, he's killed real quick by the spheres, and then Reggie's in this like epic chase where like the spheres are chasing him while he's in the Hemikuda and he's shooting them, blah blah blah. That entire opening sequence was awesome, and Reggie was just his typical badass self throughout the entire movie. I'm a big fan of Reggie. Earlier on in when I was watching these movies, like the first couple sequels, I didn't know who my favorite character was, but now that I've seen all the movies, I gotta give it to Reggie. He's my favorite character in the franchise. He's badass. He's got this charm to him. Like, he has a lot of like funny one-liners in this, and once again, he's trying to mac on this younger woman. He doesn't really get anywhere, but he almost does. But that's a staple of the franchise at this point. Is that Reggie's gonna try to holler at some younger woman, and it's probably not gonna work out. So I like that they had like a lot of the same series tropes, because that stuff's fun. And then Reggie, he's just got like this, like in the trunk of his car, he's got this bag with like all kinds of machine guns. He's got a samurai sword. Like, it's typical Reggie. Like, he's true to character in this. I love it. I love Reggie. And I like how he's like such an awesome action hero, but he's not a typical action hero. Like a lot of these action movie stars, they're these younger, buff guys, and Reggie's just kind of an average older gentleman. He's not really like that much of a player. He's not really like that smooth. He's like smoother than he thinks he is, but he's even though he's like on paper not, a typical badass character. He I don't know, his character just works. Like, he's the man. Like, he's just super cool. Like, who doesn't like Reggie? If you don't like Reggie, like, what are you smoking on? Like, get out of town, you know. So moving on here, I mentioned the dimension hopping stuff. I really enjoyed that, and it kept me on my toes throughout the movie. There was just so many WTF moments. I didn't know what was happening. There were like, I would say, three main dimensions or timelines. So you have Reggie at this hospital. He's being treated for dementia, and that's like supposed to be present day reality. Well, you don't really know. Like, nothing is really like, concrete. It's like, maybe this is reality, maybe this is. So then the other dimension is just Reggie in the desert, and he's just evading the tall man. He's hanging at that one chick's little farm. That's pretty much it. I mean, there's other stuff going on, but I'm just giving you all a quick synopsis. And then there's this third dimension, which is, you could say this is present day as well, where it's this post-apocalyptic future. And after the events of the fourth movie, it's said that the tall man just totally took over. All the dwarves and all the gravers, they just took over the entire world, and the world is just in flames. It's in ashes. The survivors are like they don't even go outside. They're in these like little bunkers, they're in these little like corridors. And when they did go outside into the post-apocalyptic world, yeah, it was a lot of CGI. Yeah, it did look a little fake, but I could like suspend disbelief because I thought it was a cool concept, and it did look pretty cool. And I thought from like a story point of view, it was cool, like, to see like what would happen if the tall man just totally took over. Like, what, because that was like their whole fear, basically, the entire franchise. Like, they're hunting this tall man. They don't want him to take over, and it's like, what would the world be like if he just totally took over everything and he became this unstoppable evil and just ruled the world, which is what happens, and it's very interesting to see. Yeah, so I all the dimension hopping stuff and the post-apocalyptic stuff I thought was really cool. And then you got the return of not only Reggie, but you got Mike is back. Mike is super badass in this. He's awesome. And then, this is probably a spoiler, so, if you all haven't seen the movie yet, giving you a heads up, this is a spoiler right here. But towards the very end of the movie, Jody comes back, and he's in the Hemikuda, but it's completely souped up. There's like all these like mesh metal things on the windows and stuff, and it's got like two giant miniguns on the side, and he's just taking people out with the miniguns. Awesome stuff. And it's like, I don't know, there's some like heartwarming scenes with them at the end. And then when Mike and Reggie reunite, that's an awesome scene. It's just great to see all the leads together again. And there are some heartwarming scenes with them all together. Like, they really have that bond, that friendship in this, and I absolutely love it. It tugs at your heartstrings a little bit, which is crazy to say for this type of movie, but hey, it does. So, what do you want? And then this is another spoiler, so just warning you all, but there's a post-credit scene, and Rocky from Phantasm 3 comes back. So that's awesome to see her. I really liked her character. Phantasm 3 was decent. It wasn't one of my favorite sequels, but I really thought she was awesome in the third one. So it was super cool to see her back. And then I gotta give an honorable mention to this one character. I think his name was like Chunk or something. he was like the little person. He was badass, and he was funny. He was just no BS. Like whenever anyone would get all like touchy feely, he was just like, what? Like he was just like all about the like all about his business, you know. So I really liked his character. He was you know, a new character, of course, and I liked him. Yeah, so you got some awesome characters, a lot of returning characters, a lot of familiar faces, and you know, you got a random cameo from Rocky, so that's pretty darn cool. So I'll take it. I kind of already touched on this, but yeah, the movie's extremely action-packed. A lot of blood. All the kills with the spheres are awesome. There's like new spheres. There's this one with all these spikes, and people are getting like their heads blown off and stuff. And of course, all the leads are just strapped up. They have all kinds of guns. Later on, like not till way late in the third act, Reggie does get the 4-barrel shotgun back, which is awesome. But all the gunplay and all the gunfights are awesome. All the kills with the spheres are awesome. Super bloody, action-packed. I love it. This movie, it's epic. That's like the best word that I would use to describe it. It's just, it's big scale, action-packed, epic. Even though it's a lower budget, it is big scale, you know, because there's all this dimension hopping going around, and then all the post-apocalyptic stuff. Like, you know, they had to create all this crazy scenery and this big scale world. So I think it's a big scale movie, even though it's lower budget. It's definitely lower budget than the last one, but I mean, you can tell. But like I said, I thought the movie was entertaining, so it didn't bother me. I kind of just talked about this point that I have in my notes, but yeah, I already talked about this earlier too. But yeah, the CGI I think is one of people's main gripes with this movie. It didn't bother me at all. I just touched on the fact that they were doing like a lot of big scale stuff. Like there was like all these like giant spheres in the air that were like enormous, and you know, there was, like I said, the post-apocalyptic world. It had this like red hue, and it was all like desolate. I think they kind of needed to use CGI, and yeah, it wasn't the best looking CGI ever, but I'm just glad that they made another movie, and I think it was a fun movie. So all the you know, the CGI stuff, and the fact that it looks a little bit lower budget, maybe it's not the most expensive camera, I don't care. I thought it was a cool movie. I'm glad it was made, so whatever. And then the last thing I'm going to touch on, so if you all have not seen this movie, definitely don't just turn it off when the credits roll, because there's quite a few post-credit scenes, and I really liked those. Those were awesome. And in addition to that, you had this cool like Phantasm themed rap song, which, you know, some people might hate on that, but I thought that was really cool and creative, and I like that they added that. I gotta find that, and like I would actually listen to that. But yeah, that's pretty much everything for my review. I didn't write this down, but I'm just gonna mention this before I end the video. So, you know, Angus Scrimm as the tall man. Once again, he was absolutely awesome, and he actually passed away, I think, like right before this movie was released, because I think they finished filming, and this came out in 2016. I think they finished filming around like 2013 or 2014, and you know, they got to do post-production stuff, and you know, they got to find, you know, distribution and all that jazz. So, you know, he of course was in the movie, but I think by the time it came around where the movie was going to get released, I think he passed away right before it. So that's it's super unfortunate that he passed, you know, because he was just an awesome actor, super talented. But I mean he was older when he passed. He was 89, so he lived, you know, a very long, full life, so that's a beautiful thing. But I mean, they even say it in the credits, like dedicated to the memory of Angus Scrimm. So it is super unfortunate that he passed, but I think that like it was nice that he was able to like reprise this role one last time. I think he absolutely killed it. Um, he didn't lose his touch at all. You know, like it was quite a while, um, you know, since the last film. All the cast, you know, they're considerably older in this one, but Angus Scrimm as the tall man was great. Reggie was great. Mike was great. Jodie was great. It was cool to see Rocky. She was great. So everyone did super well. You can tell like the filmmakers really did this as a passion project. It's really for the fans. So you can tell there was a lot of love put into this movie, and I really had a good time with it. So I had to get that out of the way. Had to give a little shout out to Angus Scrimm as the tall man before I ended the video. But now that I touched on that, I've pretty much said everything that I wanted to say. So actually, recommendation, I almost forgot. So if you're a fan of the franchise, I think you gotta watch this. I personally think that this is a great final chapter, super epic, action-packed movie. So I would definitely recommend this movie. Now I'm ready to wrap up. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.